Prabhuji and Mataji is Dandat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Please forgive me for the delay. There was some relationship crisis. So I was talking to one couple and it was a little bit more severe crisis. So I was in the middle of some conversation with them. So maybe I will sing Damodar Ashtakam. You can keep muted and you can sing along with me, and no instruments, very short, and then we'll quickly go to our Chaitanya Charitamrita discussion so we can discuss more. We saved some time today. Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Vasatkundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam. Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Vasatkundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam. Yashodabhyo Dukhaladhavamanam Paramishtamatyantato Drutya Gopya. Yashodabhyo Dukhaladhavamanam Paramishtamatyantato Drutya Gopya. Dantamohurnetra yogamamrijantam karam bhaja yogamena shatankanetram. Dantamohurnetra yogamamrijantam karam bhaja yogamena shatankanetram. Muhu swasakam pati rekhankakanta. Muhu swasakam pati rekhankakanta. Chittagrivam damodaram bhakti-badham. Sthitagrivam damodaram bhakti-badham. Iti drikshvalilabhir ananda kunde. Swaghosham nimajantam akhyapyantam. Iti drikshvalilabhir ananda kunde. Swaghosham nimajantam akhyapyantam. Adiyeshitaneshu bhaktarjitatvam prematastam satavreti vande. Varam deva moksham na moksham vadim va nacharyam vraneham reshadapiha. Varam deva moksham na moksham vadim va nacharyam vraneham reshadapiha. Idam teva purnatha gopala balam sada me manasyavi rastam kimanye. Idam teva purnatha gopala balam sada me manasyavi rastam kimanye. Idam te mukham bhojam atayanta nila कुण्ठलये स्निग्धा रक्तश्च गोप्या इदं ते मुखं भोजम् अत्यन्तनीलये विधं कुण्ठलये स्निग्धा रक्तश्च गोप्या चुम्बितं बिम्बारक्ताधरं मे मनस्य विरास्तमालं लक्ष्यलाभे मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बारक्ताधरं मे मनस्य विरास्तमालं लक्ष्यलाभे नमो देवदामोदरानन्त विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःखा जलाब्धिमाग्नम् नमो देवदामोदरानन्त विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःखा जलाब्धिमाग्नम् कृपादृष्टिवेष्ट्यातिदीनं भतानो गृहणे क्षमामज्ञम् अधियक्षिदृश्ये कृपादृष्टिवेष्ट्यातिदीनं भतानो गृहणे क्षमामज्ञम् अधियक्षिदृश्ये कुबेरात्मजो बद्धा मूर्तैर्भयाद्वः त्वया मोचितो भक्ति भजौ कृतौ च कुबेरात्मजो बद्धा मूर्त्यैर्भयाद्वः त्वया मोचितो भक्ति भजौ कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वाकामे प्रयाच मोक्षग्रहो मेस्ति दामोदरेहा तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वाकामे प्रयाच मोक्षग्रहो मेस्ति दामोदरेहा नमस्ते स्तुधाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिधाम्ने त्वदीयदरायथा विश्वशधाम्ने नमस्ते स्तुधाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिधाम्ने त्वदीयदरायथा विश्वशधाम्ने नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्दलीलाय देवाय पूतम् नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्दलीलाय देवाय पूतम् नममीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपम् षट्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् नममीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं षट्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् यशोदाभियो लोकाधावामानम् परमृष्टमत्यन्ततो धृत्यलोक्य हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya, Jaya Prabhupada. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वर। Okay. तुम्ही साक्षात श्री कृष्ण जाना निजा कर्मा यारे जाना हा से जाने तुम्हारा लीला मर्मा। You're the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna Himself. You know the purport of your activities, and the person whom you enlighten can also understand your pastimes. So, we are continuing the discussion between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Venkata Bhatta. Venkata Bhatta, this is in Sri Rangam during the 4th month of Chaturmas. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu desired to show his mercy to Venkata Bhatta. So, he asked Venkata Bhatta that if Lakshmi is serving Narayan, so and she is very chaste, then why is it that she is worshipping, she is doing tapasya, austerity, to participate in Krishna's Ras Leela pastimes? Why she is doing that? So Venkata Bhatta said, my lord, Krishna and Narayan, Vishnu, same person. So by going to Krishna, there is no breaking of chastity. It's the same personality. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, okay, if she is the same personality, if she is trying to enter into Ras Leela pastimes of Krishna, Why is it that she is not able to enter? She's not able to access Krishna's Raslila pastimes. And how come the Rishichari gopis and Shrutichari gopis, who were actually jivas, they also perform austerities and they could make an entry into Krishna's Raslila pastimes, and Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, the consort of Narayan, she cannot enter. Why is it like that? So Venkata Bhatta said, "My lord, I am low born and I cannot understand. You are the supreme personality of Godhead, so you can you can answer that. I cannot understand the pastimes of the Lord." And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Well, another thing is, how come that Lakshmi, who is consort of Narayan, she is very eager to relish Krishna's Ras Leela pastimes? And how is it that gopis, when they saw Narayan, they were not interested in associating with Narayan? In a way, they just paid obeisances and asked Narayan, where is Krishna? But Lakshmi, who is with Narayan, wants to enter Krishna's Ras Leela pastimes. Why is it like that? And then again he said, "My lord, I could not understand." Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained the concept of Raga Nuga Bhakti to Venkata Bhatta. That can be explained only to very exalted devotees. And Venkata Bhatta was a very exalted devotee, so he could understand about the principle of um, Raganuga Bhakti. Yeah. So, um, um, so when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to make Venkata Bhatta understand the tattva of Sri Krishna. So this is his response. This is where we stop. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. You know the purport of your activities, and the person whom you enlighten can also understand your pastimes. You know why she cannot enter, and so one who has your mercy only can understand. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also showed us the way through this pastime, how to access Golok Vrindavan, how to access. प्रभु कहे कृष्णरा एका स्वभाव विलक्षणा स्वमाधुर्ये सर्वचित्ते karyakarshana. The Lord replied, Lord Krishna has a special characteristic. He attracts everyone's heart by the mellow of his personal conjugal love. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining that his personal characteristic is he attracts everyone by conjugal love, by his mellow of conjugal love. Brajalokeera bhava paite tahara charana Tandre Ishvara Kari Nahi Jane Vraja Jana. By following the footsteps of the inhabitants of the planet known as Vrajaloka or Golok Vrindavan, one can attain the shelter of lotus feet of Sri Krishna. However, in the planet of inhabitants, however, in that planet, the inhabitants do not know that Lord Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining the the characteristics of Golok Vrindavan and the way to get there. Now, this is purely the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anarpitam charim chirat karunavatarena kalo samarpitam unnatojala rasam sa bhakti shriya. Hari purata sundara dyuti sadav kanamba sandipitaye sada hridaya kandare suratu va sachi nandana. So, anarpitam charim chirat karunavatarena kalo. Anarpitam means arpit karna means to bestow. Anarpitam means never bestowed. Charim chirat. Charim chirat is time. Anarpitam charim chirat means never ever in the past. Somebody bestowed. Anarpitam charim chirat karuna avatarina kalo. In Kali Yoga, Karuna Avatar, the mercy incarnation Kali Yoga, which is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has come to bestow what no other incarnation has ever bestowed ever in the history of existence. Only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Krishna of Goloka comes, once in 1,000 yoga cycles, once in a day of Brahma, Shri Krishna of Nandan Shri Krishna, Vraj Bhumi, he comes. And then when he goes away, then he comes as Sachi Nandana Gaurahari to actually tell how to access that Nandanandan Krishna. And that he is explaining here. Vraja lokera bhav paye tahara charana. By following the footsteps of the inhabitants of the planet known as Vrajalok or Golok Vrindavan. This was not spoken or given by Lord Krishna. The Shrutichari gopis, Munichari gopis, they naturally served Krishna or followed the gopis of Vrindavan so they could access Vraj Prem, the love of Golok Vrindavan. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he gave to everyone, whether one is qualified or not qualified. The qualification, the adhikar, um, um, and the knowledge through the Goswamis, he gave the knowledge. So everything is actually um, Karuna Avatarina Kalo, the mercy of Jai Sachinandan Gaura Hari. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, if you chant Jai Sachinandan Gaura Hari, Jai Sachinandan Gaura Hari, Jai Sachinandan Gaura Hari, you will be able to access the mercy of Lord Shri Krishna. But without Jai Sachinandan Gaura Hari, Krishna the doors are completely closed. It is absolutely impossible to access the mercy of Srimati Radharani and Shri Krishna if one tries to bypass Jai Sachinandan Gaura Hari. That is his mercy. He came for this purpose. And there nobody sees Krishna as God. Ke hatane putra agyane udukhale bandhe ke hasakha gyane chini chare tanra kande. There someone may accept him as a son. Someone binds him to a grinding mortar. This happened on the day of Diwali. Someone else may accept him as an intimate friend and attaining victory over him, uh, playfully mount on his shoulders. Nobody considers Krishna as God. He's just like one of the Vrajvasis. You see, he is embracing the calf. He plays his flute. He dances with the gopis. He goes with the cowherd boys and plays just like one of them. And there is pure love. There is no tinge of Aishwarya. If you go to Mathura, there is some Aishwarya. If you go to Dwarka, there is lot of Aishwarya and very tinge of Madhurya. Ayodhya, even more Aishwarya and further very tinge of Madhurya. Very, very tinge. Just like in Dwarka, there is Madhurya between queens like Rukmini and others and Krishna. Some, but majorly Aishwarya. Then Ayodhya, only Sita Devi. Otherwise, mostly even Lakshmana is also Aishwarya Bhav. Everybody is Aishwarya. And you go to Narayan, even Lakshmi Devi is also in Aishwarya. So all the Aishwarya. So if you go close, then there is only one. This Gopal, this Govinda, this Nandanandan Krishna, who only Madhurya, only pure sweetness. That's why this doesn't exist anywhere in the creation other than Golok Vrindavan. My Guru Maharaj says we are the ambassadors of Golok Vrindavan, and this is accessible only because of Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, who has come to give us his mercy. One cannot enter into Krishna's Ras Leela dance simply by artificially imitating it or artificially thinking oneself a Sakhi and dressing up like one. Prabhupada always brings this point here because in Vrindavan there are a lot of people. I went to Barsana. So there are a lot of I don't want to criticize them. This is, this is Goloka Dham, so I won't say anything. But there, somebody told me, why don't you come there around 8 a.m. in the morning? I said, what happens there? He said, Ras Leela happens there. Oh. And then he said, 2,000 people come to see Ras Leela. Every day Ras Leela happens there. Boys and girls does Ras Leela. So I did not go there. So Prabhupada says, by dressing oneself as a Sakhi and by imitating Krishna's pastimes, one cannot access. This is the epitome of all pastimes, completely transcendental. One cannot access. Um, um, it has nothing to do with material contamination. Therefore, no one can enter into this pastime by artificial material means. One time I heard from my Guru Maharaj. One time this he was mentioning about Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And this is very instructive. Please hear very carefully about Krishna's Ras Leela pastimes. So one person went to Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj and he said, I am a devotee of Krishna. I'm chanting Hare Krishna for so many years. And um, um, I want to hear Krishna's. I mean, he actually Maharaj didn't say I'm chanting for so many years because chanting holy name of Krishna will give you actually qualification. Then he just went, just a common man, and he said, I'm a devotee of Krishna. I want to hear about Krishna's Ras Leela pastimes. And Gaur Babaji Maharaj said, oh, and Gaur Babaji Maharaj said, I actually I'm very busy right now. Please come back after some time. So this person again went to Gaur Krishodas Babaji Maharaj. Those who don't know, I'm sure everybody knows. Bhaktisdan Saraswati Thakur, Guru Maharaj, his Srila Prabhupada, grand spiritual master is Gaur Krishodas Babaji Maharaj. Just like Srila Prabhupada to us, likewise Gaur Krishodas Babaji Maharaj to Srila Prabhupada. So then the person went again after some days and he told Gaur Vishnu Babaji Maharaj, then Maharaj, I want to hear about Krishna's Ras Leela pastimes. Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj said, oh, I'm still busy at this point, or come back later. And then it kept on happening 15, 20, 30, 40 times. And the person stopped going because he was frustrated that Babaji Maharaj is not speaking to me about Ras Leela. So God Krishna Babaji Maharaj became very happy. Very good. Disturbance is gone. So God Krishna Babaji Maharaj said, these people these people climb lot of stairs. They want to go on 50th story building, 100th story building, high. They want to go right on the top of the the most biggest building simply to pass tool. This was Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj uh, explanation on why people want to hear Ras Leela. Then he said they want to go high, simply to pass tool. Means they want to go high in Krishna's Ras Leela pastimes and they want to enjoy that. They want to enjoy. They don't want to serve. They want to enjoy. So very instructive. So Prabhupada always bring that here that Krishna's pastimes is like beautiful lecture. Those who heard very beautiful lecture by His Grace Yugul Kishore Prabhu on Sharad Purnima, and he said, the supreme personality of Godhead, um, who is the creator of millions of universes, when he wants to enjoy, that's how he enjoys. So we cannot understand at our level. Yet under able guidance, we can hear with the intention to serve. And Prabhupada says that will remove the lust, Prabhupada says. But one has to be very careful while approaching these pastimes of the Lord. So um, um, So Prabhupada says no one can enter into this pastime by artificial material means. Our Goswamis, if somebody approached them and say, can you tell me about Krishna pastimes with the gopis, Ashtakaliya Leela, they would consider it simply a disturbance, cannot be spoken, too high. पूर्व भटेरा मने एका चीला अभिमान श्री नारायण Haina Swayam Bhagavan. Before this explanation was given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Venkatapat thought that Sri Narayan was the supreme personality of Godhead. Venkatapat believed that worship of Narayan was the supreme form of worship, superior to all other processes of devotional service. That's what Sri Sampradaya think even today. Even there is sometimes a debate between what is this? There is one sannyasi of Sri Sampradaya. He has lot of followers. um, uh, Chiranjeev Swami, something like that. Big, big, big follower Sri Sampradaya, and many followers. They have hundreds of thousands of followers also, but they think that there is no worship superior than worshiping Narayan. But since there are very few pastimes of Lord Narayan, they actually discuss Ram Leela. That's why South India, Sri Sampradayas, they speak a lot about Ram Leela, but nobody speaks about Krishna Leela because Krishna Leela is too difficult to understand. Krishna Leela is so many turns and twists, especially when it comes to Krishna and the gopis just cannot explain. So it's so complicated to understand and to speak these pastimes. So that's why there are not many pastimes of Narayan himself, so they all speak about Ram Leela, but then they personally, their form of worship is Lakshmi Narayan. They worship Sitaram Lakshman also, but they have some other conceptions also. They say that there is Vaikuntha where only Narayan lives, and then from Vaikuntha comes Lord Ram. So Lord Ram is Narayan, and then Lord Ram goes back and merges into Narayan, and Narayan is the only one. So through Ram, they are trying to reach Narayan, which is actually not a conception that is spoken by our acharyas. They say, well, Lord Ram has another planet, Ayodhya, and all. So Sri Sampradaya, they say all incarnations. So Narayan comes, take a particular form, and goes back. Is the same Narayan taking these different forms, and for different pastimes. So they say, like, for the sake of killing Hiranyakashipu, Narayan took the form of Nashingadev, killed Hiranyakashipu, and then went back and became Narayan. That's it. So they consider that the forms of the incarnations of personality of Godhead are temporary, and they all emanate from Narayan. But since they are the same person, you can so this is Sri Sampradaya understanding. So there are always conflicts. That's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you will see, he would convert Sri Sampradayas also into um, 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 Gaudiya Sampradaya. I mean, the devotees into chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and understanding worship of Krishna. So Sri Sampradaya, if you ask them who Krishna is, their understanding of Krishna is that Narayan came as Krishna. He spoke Bhagavad Gita. So that's great. You worship Narayan, you worship Krishna. By worshipping Krishna, you go to Narayan. Because ultimately, it's Narayan who takes the beautiful form. So they give their own explanations. That's why best is do not hear Krishna Katha even from Sri Sampradayas. One Mataji asked me this question recently in one of the programs, that can we hear from two Sampradaya? I said they will only be confusion. Although they are bona fide, do not hear, because there are conflicts even between them. And there are debates between Hari Parshad Prabhu and between um, Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj and Chiranjeev Swami of Sri Sampradaya, debating on these. Are, only very sincere devotees can discuss this, otherwise confusion will come. Ki why this all started from Bonafide Sampradaya. But for sake of knowledge, I am sharing today. So Venkata Bhatta was in that mood. So that's why Mahaprabhu is bringing out this point, that why she wants to participate. Now, if she is performing, means Krishna's pastimes are eternal, and Krishna's pastimes are are happening all the time. Or why would gopis not show affection for Narayan if the source is coming? So naturally, because the rasa of Krishna is superior, they're not attracted. But the rasa of Narayan, the intimacy of Narayan is not like that of Krishna. Lakshmi Devi is attracted to Krishna. So in that way, Mahaprabhu is posing logical questions to Venkata Bhatta to help him understand and give him his mercy. So before this explanation was given, Venkata Bhatta thought that Sri Narayan was the supreme personality of Godhead. Venkata Bhatta believed that worship of Narayan was the supreme form of worship, superior to all other processes of devotional service. If you go to the south, everybody is a devotee of Narayan. If you go to the north, everybody is devotee of Krishna. and Rama. In fact, uh, place wise, the Sampradaya has influence, kind of. North, because of Vrindavan and Ayodhya, they are in north. So everybody worships. Nobody, you will not see, you will hardly see a Narayan temple in North India. It's all the influence of the place and the influence of Sampradaya. But ultimately, we don't accept based on place and circumstances. Scriptures are the basis. You go back to Shastra, you go back to Shrimad Bhagavatam, you go back to Bhagavad Gita, and then you get your understanding from there. So in recently, I was visiting one home in Grand Rapids, and then this family is from north. They are somewhere from Kanpur, Lucknow, somewhere in north. Then I asked them, "Have you heard about Srirangam?" They said no. I said, "Okay." Have you heard Tirupati Balaji? They said, "Yeah, somewhere we have heard." They don't know anything about that place. For them, only Krishna, because they are born in an environment. So the family tradition continues, and most of the time this becomes a hurdle for devotees to actually understand Krishna consciousness, because the family background comes with them, and then they find it hard to digest when they read from scriptures and it doesn't match their understanding. So that's why Prabhupada said books are the basis. Go back to Srimad Bhagavatam, go back to Bhagavad Gita. So before this explanation was given, Chaitanya Venkata Bhatta thought that Narayan was the supreme personality of Godhead. Venkata Bhatta believed that worship of Narayan was a supreme form of worship, superior to all other processes of devotional service. So that's why they worship. I know at least one Sri Sampradaya, mainly deity worship and Narayan. And because Narayan is awe and reverence, they worship with a lot of awe and reverence. Our worship is very Krishna like, no, very little bit different. Colorful turbans, and if you see, you don't see Narayan having colored jewelry. It's always gold. Narayan, oh Aishwarya. But you see Radha Gopijan and Vallabha, their dressing is like colorful clothes and colorful jewelries and colorful turbans and colorful flowers. You won't see that in Narayan worship. It's always like forest. So our mood is different in a way. The way Prabhupada gave us even the dressing was also quite different. प्रभु कहे भट्टा तुम्ही ना करिहा संशय स्वयं Bhagavan Krishna Eite Nishchay. So Venkata Bhatta was disturbed because Venkata Bhatta had strong background of Narayan, and he was thinking Krishna is an expansion of Narayan. And he was thinking Krishna came as Narayan, spoke Bhagavad Gita, and everything is actually glorification of Narayan. So how they interpret Shrimad Bhagavatam, the Sri Sampradaya, how they interpret Shrimad Bhagavatam, they say, there are leelas about Nashingadev, there are leelas about Lord Ram, likewise there are leelas about Krishna in Shrimad Bhagavatam, but ultimately Bhagwan is Narayan. And by hearing leela about Ram, Nashingadev or Krishna, you ultimately go to Narayan. And they would see Gaudiya Vaishnavas are like, okay, they are indirectly worshipping Narayan, but they are also good because Krishna is Narayan. So in a way, they will also go to Narayan Bonafide Sampradaya. So in that way, they see Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. And they are actually most difficult to understand Gaudiya Vaishnava. People who have no understanding, very easy for them to understand Gaudiya Vaishnavism, but who have understanding, they find it very difficult to understand Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Moreover, so lot of things can be said. Prabhu kahe, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told, Bhatta, tumi na karahe samshay. Samshay means doubt. So he when Mahaprabhu presented how why Lakshmi Devi is presenting, how could they attain, Lakshmi Devi still could not attain the path of Raga Nuga Bhakti, and other understanding Mahaprabhu was giving. So he saw that Venkata Bhatta was having doubts on his face about accepting Krishna as Supreme Personality of God and source of Narayan. So Prabhu kahe Bhatta tumi na kariha samshay. He said, do not doubt, Bhatta, do not doubt. Mahipal Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Roji, doesn't Ramanujacharya clarify on the like personality of Godhead and what do they interpret about Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam?
So what did he say, Ramanujacharya, on that?
Yeah.
What did he say? Did he say that Krishna is source of Narayan?
No, I'm asking, didn't Ramanujacharya give conclusion about who is
Well,
Supreme?
not really, Prabhuji. He defeated Buddhism. He defeated Mayavad. The main fight of Ramanujacharya was to defeat Shankaracharya, because Shankaracharya said God does not have a form, and you can worship either Narayan or Ganesh or Surya or Durga or Shiva, Panchopasana, and then you go beyond the form and then you merge one into God, Sayujya Mukti, nothing beyond that. Ramanujacharya defeated that. So Shankaracharya gave Ekadanda Sannyas, means everything is one. Everything is God, everything is one. So Ramanujacharya gave Tridanda Sannyas and then heavily defeated, uh, uh, but he would worship Narayan. When Madhvacharya came, he established Krishna's supremacy. Krishna's supremacy. So Sri Sampradaya mainly Narayan worship. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yes. Thank
प्रभु कहे भट्टा तुम्ही ना करिहा संशय स्वयं भगवान कृष्ण एते निश्चय. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Bhattacharya, don't doubt. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna eite nischay. Know it for certain that Krishna is a Swayam Bhagavan. Jiva Goswami on this verse, ete chamsa kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So ete means all the above mentioned incarnations. Ete. And before that, all the incarnations are described. Ete chamsa kala pumsa. Kala means their portions. Pumsa is the Purusha avatars. So all the incarnations are incarnation of Purusha avatar, which is Narayan. Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam, but Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. So all other incarnation. One time I asked Sri Nandanandan Prabhu, he's the Prabhupada disciple. I think I was in Detroit temple that time. Then he mentioned that all the incarnations comes from Narayan except Krishna. Krishna comes through Narayan, but he is not an incarnation of Narayan. And Ramapad Maharaj recently gave a class. He's coming again. Recently gave a class and he said, quoting Jiva Goswami, that Etachamsa Kala Pumsham Krishnas to Bhagwan Swayam is Paribhash Sutra of Srimad Bhagavatam. Paribhash Sutra means essential verse. Essential verse. Which says that, which establishes, the third chapter establishes Krishna is the source of all incarnations. So Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Aite Nishchay. Do not continue doubting. Lord Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that is the conclusion of the Vedic literatures. And then Mahaprabhu quoted this verse. Ete chamsa kala pumsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuga Yuga. All these incarnations of Godhead are either portion or part of the plenary portion of the Purusha avatars, which is either Garbhodakshay Vishnu, mainly Shiva Vishnu. All incarnation, all come from Shiva Vishnu. Um, so Kala Pumsa. But Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. In every age, He protects the world through His different features when the world is disturbed by the enemies of Indra. So that's what it means. Sambhavami Yuga Yuga. Narayana Haite Krishnera Asa Dharana Guna Ata Eva Lakshmira Krishna Anukshana. Because Krishna has four extraordinary qualities not possessed by Lord Narayan, the goddess of fortune Lakshmi always desires his company. So Mahaprabhu gave many reasons. One of the reason is Narayan has 60 qualities and Krishna has 64 qualities. Four qualities Krishna has that Narayan does not have. And their Rupa Madhuri is the beauty of Lord Krishna. Tribhanga form. Um, um, Parahapidam Natavarapukarnayo Karnikaram Bibradvasa Tanakakapisam Vaijayanti Chamalam. So in that way Srimad Bhagavatam describes 10th canto in the Venu Geet section. This is the verse spoken. This is the verse spoken by Sukadev Goswami describing how the gopis remembered the form of Krishna and how they were immediately attracted and their minds became disturbed. Barahapidam, Barahapidam means wearing a peacock feather. Natavara, and who is dancing. We see Radha Govind Maharaj expressed very nicely. In Golok Vrindavan, everyone dances. Krishna is always dancing in front with the Gopas when they walk for Gochar and Leela. Every step is a dance. They're always, when you are joyful, you dance. So um, it's all sweet mode. So when they go, all the cows are dancing when they are walking. All the Gopas are dancing. Krishna is always dancing. And then in front of elderly gopis, when they go and Krishna steals butter, they make them dance, and Krishna just started dancing. And then Krishna dances with the gopis. So Krishna is always dancing, afternoon, morning, evening, every time Krishna is dancing. And when Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they're always dancing, and Radha Rani, and they're always dancing. And um, um, the Gopals, they're always dancing, cows are always dancing. So one common feature in Golok Vrindavan is dance. Everybody dances. That's why we see Srila Prabhupada danced. One of the quality of pure devotee is that they dance. I mean, they dance in their own elegant way, but they dance. We see all spiritual masters discount they dance. Because Mahaprabhu was a Natavar. Natavar means dancer, and all his associate Advaita Acharya is very grave, but he would dance. Haridas Thakur, Nityananda Prabhu, they all are dancers. Lead dancers were Nitai, Advaita, Vakreshwar Pandit. So during when we will see a lot of beautiful pastimes will come, Rath Yatra, 7 parties, and they all have 7 lead dancers. So dance is very. You see, anytime you come for Sunday feast, any festival, you see what do you see? You see dance there in the temple. So because coming from Goloka, Baraha Pidam Natavara, Natavar is Natavar. um, and beautiful description, Tribhanga form, wearing a belt, Kaustuba jewel, Vaijayanti Chamalam, and he wears a Vaijayanti garland. So Krishna's roop is very attractive, very colorful. Krishna's roop, and he wears a twisted turban little bit twisted, that really disturb the minds of the gopis. Not very straight, like straight, symmetric. We did a turban course in Mayapur, so they say symmetric turbans is Aishwarya. Asymmetrical turban is sweetness. So you see our turban of Radha Gopijan, they're asymmetric. Asymmetric means anything is going anywhere. They're not like very symmetric around the center. Symmetric means around the center everything's same. But you see, Krishna is not symmetric. I mean, his head is one side, hips is one side, and his ankles are one side. So that is a sign of sweetness. So one is Roop Madhuri, his sweetness. One is Venu Madhuri. When he plays Venu, what happens? You should go and read Srimad Bhagavatam 21st chapter. What happens? That is another quality of Krishna, which is not there in Narayan. Venu Madhuri, the sweetness of his flute. Then Leela Madhuri, the pastimes of Krishna are all attractive. There are no such pastimes like Gocharan Leela, grazing of cows, going with the cowherds, dancing with the gopis, night pastimes, day pastimes, pastimes with Mother Yashoda and Nanda. There are no such pastimes in Vaikuntha. There is only servant. You are all servant. That's all. Not like hugging the cows and the calf and milking the cows, and massaging. Krishna is massaging feet of the gopas. So these are called Leela Madhuri. This is another special quality of Krishna. And then Prema Madhuri, the lovers of Krishna, the kind of lovers Krishna has, Narayan doesn't have. Narayan only Das has. The kind of lovers like Subal Madhumangal, like Radharani, Lalita, Vishakha, and the group, like Mother Yashoda and Nanda Baba. None of these rasas exist in Goloka. So the amount of love gopis have for Krishna, Lakshmi doesn't have for Narayan. Sorry to say that, but that's a fact. And because the rasa is higher, and that's why she's desiring to have that love from Narayan, but she cannot, so she's going to Krishna. But gopis are having that kind of love from Krishna, intimate. So they don't want to go to Narayan, because if you go to Narayan, what do you Dandavat Pranam Maharaj? But if you go to Krishna, there is Prema Madhuri, the love of the gopis and the love of any associate. So these are four qualities. So Mahaprabhu quoted this also. So these all the teachings of Rupa Goswami, our entire teaching is actually coming from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he came for the particular purpose to give access to Golok Vrindavan, and before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only Narayan was accessible. So Krishna has four. This is Mahaprabhu telling Narayana Haite Krishnera Asha Dharana Guna Ataeva Lakshmira Krishna Anukshana. So Krishna has these four qualities that Narayan doesn't have, and Lakshmi Devi is very much attracted to the flute and to the dance and to the loving relationship that Krishna has. And kind of pastimes of Krishna, this is tax pastimes of Krishna and the gopis. They are very intimate and sweet. All the pastimes of Krishna is very attractive to the heart. तुम्ही ये पढ़ीला श्लोका सेहाया प्रमाण Say Shloka Aisha Krishna Swayam Bhagavan. It is actually very, it is not easy to convert Venkata Bhatta, who is not just one of the Sri Sampradaya or hearing here and there, who is one of the leader of Sri Sampradaya. So Mahaprabhu took all the leaders and then gave them kripa. kripa. Whether it is um, Mayavad leaders or Madhvite leaders or Buddhist leaders or Sri Sampradaya leaders or Shaivite leaders or Durga leaders, you name it. Mahaprabhu took all the leaders and gave them kripa, just to give the understanding. Tumi ye padiya shloka say hai praman. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first asked Venkata Bhatta why Lakshmi Devi is worshipping Krishna, so Venkata Bhatta read one shloka, and then there it says that the mellow of Krishna is higher than mellow of Narayan. He himself said that. That's why she is attracted, because mellow of Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is using the technique to use the same shloka and saying, well, you know that shloka, you quoted that, because when you say something, then if you're saying you really have faith in that. So Mahaprabhu is telling, since you quoted shloka, that itself can be taken as praman. If somebody, what is a praman? Many praman, but because he spoke that shloka, that itself acts as one of the praman. Tumi ye padila shloka se haya praman. Slay shloke aisa Krishna Swayam Bhagavan. That shloka itself says Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. You have recited the shloka beginning with Siddhantatas Tva Abhidepi. That very verse is evidence that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then there's a shloka that Venkata Bhatta quoted why Lakshmi Devi is going to Krishna, after leaving Narayan. Siddhantatas Abhidepi. So this shloka is coming twice in Chaitanya Charitamrita in this chapter. First, he said, then Mahaprabhu established the tattva, and then Mahaprabhu is giving kripa to Venkata Bhatta, and then quoting the same shloka saying, you said that right, that itself is a praman, one of the praman. Sirsha Krishna Sarupayo Rase Not Krishniyate Krishna Rupa Mesha Rasasthiti. According to transcendental realization, there is no difference between the form of Krishna and Narayan. Yet in Krishna, there is a special transcendental attraction due to conjugal love, due to conjugal mellow, and consequently he surpasses Narayan. This is the conclusion of transcendental mellows. So Venkata Bhatta himself said that Krishna's pastimes and there is a special transcendental attraction that surpasses Narayan, and that's why he surpasses Narayan. This is a conclusion. So Mahaprabhu said, well, that sloka itself is a praman, other than all the reasoning that I am giving. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Hare Lakshmi Raman Gopi Kara Mana Harite Nare Narayana. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna attracts the mind of the goddess of fortune, but Lord Narayan cannot attract the minds of the gopis. This proves the super excellence of Krishna. Krishna's devotees cannot go there, but Narayan devotees want to come to Krishna. That proves the super excellence of Krishna. So in that way, lot of Praman Mahaprabhu is presenting to Venkata. चतुर्भुजा मूर्ति देखाए गोपी गणेरा आगे say Krishna Gopikara Nahi Anuragi. Although Krishna assumed the four-handed form of Narayan, he could not attract the serious attention of the gopis in ecstatic love. He could not get their attention. They were mad after Krishna, searching after Krishna. They said, oh, where Krishna is? And when Radharani came, his two hands melted and he embraced Radharani. So, um, because in front of Radharani, he could not fake because he becomes completely captured by her love. Uh, um, Anayoradhita Nuna, Bhagavan Hari Ishvara. That this particular gopi, Srimati Radharani, has yesterday Yugal Krishna Prabhu was mentioning this. This particular gopi, Srimati Radharani, has completely captured Krishna, and she is very special. Gopi Dware Lakshmi Kare Krishna Sangashwad Ishwaratve Bheda Manile Haya Aparad. The goddess of fortune enjoys the association of Krishna through the gopis. One should not differentiate between the forms of the Lord, for such a conception is offensive. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after giving the reasons to Venkata Bhatta about the tattva of Krishna and the position of Krishna and the truth about Krishna, he says, but that's okay. So we cannot offend Lakshmi by saying, by saying like she is doing this is Lakshmi, goddess of fortune. She has millions of devotees, Prabhudis and Matas. This cannot offend Lakshmi Devi, consort of Narayan, who we are, conditioned souls. So cannot. So Mahaprabhu is setting an example. So she said, that's all right. Lakshmi Devi, somebody says, Lakshmi Devi think the pastor still did not access Krishna, and we can maybe try, we can try to access Krishna. So one should not kind of, that mood is offensive. So Mahaprabhu is telling the goddess of fortune enjoys the association of Krishna through the gopis. Actually, Lakshmi is expansion of gopis. From Radharani comes gopis, and then they expand into Dwarka queens and then Lakshmis. So many Lakshmis. So, um, so goddess of fortune is same tattva. So through the gopis, because same personality, same tattva, through the gopis, she's also enjoying the association of Krishna. So don't criticize. Don't find fault. Otherwise, it will be offensive. One should not differentiate between the forms of the Lord, for such a conception is offensive. That's why Srila Prabhupada said Narayan Krishna same. Prabhupada said it's an offense because Mahaprabhu said. At the same time, those devotees who, at the same time, Mahaprabhu spoke in order to convince Venkata Bhatta to give kripa and to show his mercy and to give the knowledge. He spoke. But then he said, but don't saying that Narayan is lower, Krishna is higher, that becomes an offensive thought. But you can speak tattva that, okay, Krishna's sweetness is attractive. His Venu, his Roop, his Leelas, um, they are they are more attractive. That's all right. So, and then tattva wise we can speak, otherwise avoid. भट्टा कहे कहाँ आमी जीवरा पामरा कहाँ तुम्ही say Krishna Shakshada Ishvara. Venkata Bhatta said, I am an ordinary fallen living entity, but you are Krishna's supreme personality of Godhead. He is taking a humble position in front of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and bowing down to the Lord. Venkata Bhatta, very humble soul. Um, अगाधा ईश्वर लीला किछु न जानी तुम ये कहा से सत्य करी मानी. The transcendental pastimes of the Lord are unfathomable, and I do not know anything about them. Whatever you say, I accept as a truth. So this is surrender to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Whatever you say, I accept. Um, and and then continued serving Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually revealed his divinity not to Venkata Bhatta, but he revealed his divinity to his son. His son was Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and he is one of the Goswamis. And he told Gopal Bhatta that um, this doesn't come in this chapter, but he told Gopal Bhatt that do not get married and serve your parents. And after they leave the body, you join Rup and Sanatana in Vrindavan. He gave them, but that particular thing doesn't come in this chapter. Maybe later it will come. So we see Venkata Bhatta surrendering, and then Venkata Bhatta became so surrendered to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He told Gopal Bhatta Goswami that in your life, the purpose and the goal of your life is that you become a very nice devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even before Krishna, you say Jai Sachindan Gaura Hari. So, and then we see that when Gopal Bhatta Goswami, the day after Nrsimha Chaturdashi, when he, when the Shaligram Shilas converted into Radharaman, there's a temple of beautiful temple Radharaman Vrindavan. Venkata Bhatta felt bad. Gopal Bhatta felt bad that my father Venkata Bhatta said, we are first devotee of Jai Sachin Gaurahari, then we are devotee of Krishna. And here I have the deity of Krishna, but I want to be devotee of Sachinandan. So then that Radha Raman converted into Mahaprabhu with the raised hands, golden, and then again converted back into Radha Raman. So then Gopal Bhatt understood that actually this is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he worshipped Radha Raman as Lord Chaitanya and as combined form of Radha Krishna in Radha Raman. So we see that instruction, he took it very seriously. That first you are devotee of Jai Sachinandan. And we see here Gopal Bhatt accepted that to me Sakshat Ishwar. I don't know the I don't have the understanding of Narayan and Krishna and what happens there. I mean, that is too high. I am too small. I am a conditioned soul. What do I know? What is my background? I am a fool, number one. But you are speaking, the Lord Himself, He is speaking about it. So I accept. Not but my mind says, or no, complete surrender. Okay. আমি তো মূর্খ পামার তুমি সাক্ষাৎ ঈশ্বর. What do I understand? The mellows of divinity. You are telling me I accept. So Prabhupada says, like Krishna says, Arjuna says to Krishna, Karishya Vachanam Tava. Whatever you say, I will do. Whatever, uh, um, and then Arjuna says Krishna that Vyasadeva is accepted, Narada is accepted, um, Asita has accepted, Devala has accepted, and now I am also accepting you as Supreme Personality of Godhead when Krishna showed his universal form. Then Srila Prabhupada says there, that's the mood of a bona fide devotee. You should take the words of the Lord as it is, not with some other interpretations. So here we see that mood in Venkata Bhatta, the complete surrender. More Purna Kripa Kaila Lakshmi Narayana Tana Kripa Aya Painu Tomar Charana Darshana. I have been engaged in the service of Lakshmi Narayan, and it is due to their mercy that I have been able to see your lotus feet. This also because the heart, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was speaking, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu illumined the heart of Venkata Bhatta. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was speaking, the words were like shaking Venkata Bhatta to the core. And Venkata Bhatta, now only by the mercy of Krishna, one can understand the absolute truth. Otherwise, one cannot. It has to resonate from within. So, because Mahaprabhu showed his mercy to Venkata Bhatta said, because I have been engaged in the service of Lakshmi Narayan, it is due to their mercy that I have been able to see your lotus feet. I have received your darshan. We see that even in Digvijay Pandit, when he was very much proud of Saraswati, Saraswati came and she said, my mercy to you is that you surrender to Nimai. And we see, and there Lakshmi Saraswati spoke. Here within his heart he was convinced that because I have been worshipping Lakshmi Narayan, by their mercy I have attained your lotus feet. So Mahaprabhu gave him full mercy. Ebeshe janino Krishna bhakti sarvopari Krethartha karile more. Kahila Kripa Kari. I can now understand that devotional service unto Lord Krishna is a supreme form of worship. Out of your causeless mercy, you have made my life successful simply by explaining the facts. In that way, Venkata Bhatta, uh, um, A to A we say Janinu. Janinu means now I come to know Krishna Bhakti Sarvopari. Sarvopari means the topmost. Sarvopari, Krishna Bhakti. Kritartha Karile. Um, um, Kritartha Karile means my life has become successful. Kritartha. If you see, if you see in the song last week we sang, um, um, J Pade, J, um, J Pade Brahma Kritartha Hoila. The song we were singing. Um, that by holding the lotus feet, the life of Brahma became successful. So the word Kritartha comes here. Kritartha hoila. Brahma's life became successful. So Kritartha karile more, kahila kripa kari. By your mercy, my life has become successful because you gave me janino. By your mercy, I came to understand. एटा बाली भट्टा पाडिला प्रभुरा चरणे कृपा करी प्रभु तांदे kaila alingane. After saying this, Venkata Bhatta fell down before the lotus feet of the Lord, and the Lord, out of his causeless mercy, embraced him. So Mahaprabhu showed his mercy to Venkata Bhatta. चतुर्मास पूर्ण हैला भट्ट आगेला ना दक्षिणा चलीला प्रभु श्रीरंगा देखिया. Then the fourth month, 4 months came to an end. And then he took the permission from Venkata Bhatta. Dakshina Chalila Prabhu Shriranga Dekhiya. So he, after bestowing his mercy to the Brahmana who was illiterate, who read 4 month Bhagavad Gita, and to by visiting the homes of so many Sri Vaishnavites, giving them his causeless mercy, showing his causeless mercy to Prabodhanda Saraswati, Venkata Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta, their son, Gopal, and many others. 4 months came to an end. Dakshina Chalila Prabhu Shriranga Dekhiya. After that, he moved towards, after visiting Shriranga, he proceeded further towards southern India. Venkata Bhatt did not want to return home, but also wanted to go with the Lord. It was with great endeavor that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade him farewell. When he did so, Venkata Bhatta fell down unconscious. Such are the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Sachi, at Sri Rangachit. Pure love would emanate from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when Venkata Bhatta tried to follow, Mahaprabhu would not take anybody other than Kala Krishna Das. Kala Krishna Das also, how he was attracted to Bhattadharis will come in the future. So Mahaprabhu told him, no, you have to go back, you cannot come with me. So he fell unconscious, he cried, and Mahaprabhu just left Sri Rangachitra. ऋषभ पर्वते चली आइला गौरहरि नारायण देखिला तान्हा Nati Stuti Kari. When the Lord arrived at Rishabh Hill, he saw the temple of Lord Narayan and offered obeisances and various prayers. So this is called Rishabh Hill that you see. It's a great temple. There is a lot of, it's a very religious place. It's in Madurai in Tamil Nadu. Srirangam is also in Tamil Nadu. So he continued walking Tamil Nadu towards further southern, towards the southernmost tip. He continued walking down, and on the way he came to this hill in Madurai district called Rishabh Hill. Nearby Rishabh Hill is the forest where Lord Rishabh Dev burned himself to ashes. Those who know about Lord Rishabh Dev comes in fifth canto. Yugal Kishore Prabhu also did a seminar on teachings of Lord Rishabh, those who heard. So he took sannyas, and then he traveled and completely detached from bodily conception after giving the teachings to his 100 sons. Eldest son was Bharat Maharaj, who became a deer in the next life, and 9 other sons who gave knowledge and who spoke the verse about Mahaprabhu's advent. There were also 9 other sons, Navyogendras. They were also sons of Rishabdev. So setting a good example, and then later on, He accepted a lot of tribulations on a bodily platform. Just to see an example, the life of a sannyasi of renunciation and detachment. And he entered into samadhi and burnt his body, transcendental. Um, and that happened here. So, and then there is a, because he was actually expansion of Lord Narayan, incarnation of Lord Narayan. So Lakshmi Narayan are being worshipped here. So Mahaprabhu went and paid obeisances there. परमानंद पुरी ताहा रहे चतुर्मास सोनी Mahaprabhu gela puri Goshaira pass. So then there was another sannyasi who was staying near Rishabh Hill in Tamil Nadu, and his name was Paramananda Puri. Paramananda Puri was Uddhav in Krishna Lila. Paramananda Puri was one of the disciple of Madhvendra Puri. Paramananda Puri was the god brother of Ishwar Puri. So in a way, Paramananda Puri was like the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just like, um, Srila Prabhupada said that one should treat the god brother of one spiritual master as good as spiritual master. So if we are if we are disciple of one sannyasi, then all the sannyasis will be like our spiritual master. That's how one should pay respect, because they are all God brothers. So to us, they are like that. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed his, but at the same time, Paramananda Puri knew who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. So this is something about Paramananda Puri, and Paramananda Puri made his residence in Jagannath Puri. But during the Chaturmas 4 months, Mahaprabhu stayed at Venkatabhata in Sri Rangam. Simultaneously, Paramananda Puri was staying in a house of a Brahmana in near Rishabh Hill. And when Mahaprabhu came there, Paramananda Puri has still not left. Although maybe 1 to 3 days were over, just over Chaturmas. So Paramananda Puri was still about to leave. Um, and Mahaprabhu came and he became very happy and excited by seeing Paramananda Puri, because God brother, like spiritual masters, God brother. So something about him. Paramananda Puri had stayed at Rishabh Hill during the 4 months of the rainy season because nobody travels. So he also stayed there in Tamil Nadu. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this, he immediately went to see him. Somebody said, Paramananda Puri is here. Mahaprabhu became excited. Yeah. So he went there. Puri Goshaira Prabhu Kaila Charana Vandan Preme Puri Gosai Tandre Kaila Alingan. Upon meeting Paramananda Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered him all respects, touching his lotus feet, and Paramananda Puri embraced the Lord in ecstasy. Preme Puri Gosai Tandre Kaila Alingan. With love, he embraced Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and they both embraced each other. तीना दिना प्रेमे दोहे कृष्ण कथा रंगे सई विप्रा घरे दोहे रहे का संगे. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed with Paramananda Puri in the Brahmana's house where he was residing. The two of them passed 3 days there discussing topics of Krishna. So and he was staying in a Brahmana's house. So Mahaprabhu also stayed. He took association of Paramananda Puri, or you may say he gave association to Paramananda Puri. Either ways. The devotees headed by Paramananda Puri are and eight other great sannyasis are like the spreading roots of the tree. Uh, uh, he was Uddhav in Krishna Lila. Now, those who remember, we discuss in Adi Lila Chaitanya tree, where we discussed that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is compared to the trunk and he has many branches, and the two main branches are Nitai and Advaita. Nita is the biggest branch, and second is Advaita, and third is Gadadhar, and they are all different branches. And Srila Prabhupada said that our ISKCON is one of the branch in Chaitanya tree, and Mahaprabhu is the root. Mahaprabhu is the trunk, and the root are the 9 sannyasis headed by Paramananda Puri, who were the constant associates of Lord Chaitanya. and the seed is Madhavendra Puri. Those who remember Chaitanya describe that this is Adi Lila chapter 9 to 11. There's a description of Chaitanya tree, Vriksha, Bhakti Vriksha, the original Bhakti Vriksha. It originated from Madhavendra Puri, and then roots. Nine sannyasis headed by Paramananda Puri, and then became from the root came trunk, that was Lord Chaitanya, and then smaller, bigger to smaller branches, which were the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Paramananda Puri come, and we will hear about some of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya with Paramananda Puri in Antya Leela. They would stay together. Together means in Jagannath Puri. And this is where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is the first time Paramananda Puri comes, the meeting comes. So first time he met in Rishabh Hill. But Mahaprabhu knows Paramananda Puri because spiritual master is God brother. So the respect is there. He would always say whatever Paramananda Puri says. And this is the meeting place at Rishabh Hill in South India. পুরী গোসাই বলে আমি ইয়াবা পুরুষোত্তমা পুরুষোত্তমা দেখি গৌড়া Yaba Ganga Snani. Puri Gosai Bole. So Paramananda Puri told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ami Yaba Purushottam. Purushottam is Sri Purushottam Dham, which is Jagannath Puri. Jagannath Puri is also called Purushottam Dham. Purushottam Dham because Purushottam is Krishna. Purushottam 15th chapter is Purushottam Yoga. So Purushottam Dham where Krishna resides, and that is generally referred to Jagannath Puri. Purushottama Dekhi. So he said, now I'm going to Purushottam. I'm going to Jagannath Puri. I came here. I mean, I was traveling and 4 months over. Now I'm going there. After visiting Purushottam, Gaude, Gauda, Go, this is not Gora. Gora is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gauda Desh, Gauda, that is Bengal. Gauda Yaba Ganga Snani. So he said, after visiting Jagannath Puri, I will go from there to Bengal to take bath in Ganga. Naturally, Ganga doesn't flow in Jagannath Puri. There is only a ocean that is there in Jagannath Puri. So after seeing Lord Jagannath there, he would go to Bengal. So he expressed his plan to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. प्रभु कहे प्रभु कहे तुम्ही पुन्हा ऐसा नीला चले आम्ही सेतु बंधा हायते आशिबा अल्पा kale. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, very nice. And then he said, you go to Tumi Puna Aisa Nilachal. You go to Nilachal, which is again Jagannath Puri. Please return to Jagannath Puri. Ami Shetu Banda Haite Ashibe Alpa Kare. I will return. I will return there very soon from Rameshwar, Shetu Banda. So after this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further continued towards south to go to Rameshwar, Setubandh, and many other places. And then we will see a lot next week. And Paramananda Puri, you go to, very nice, you go to Jagannath Puri. Tomara nikate rahi hena vancha hai. Vancha means desire. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha. So vancha is desire. Tomara nikata rahi hena vancha hai. My desire is that I stay near you. Nila chale ashibe more hana sadai. Please show me great mercy so that we can stay together. So Mahaprabhu made a request that I want to, when I come, I want to stay with you. And that's where Paramananda Puri also stayed with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu throughout his life. Eta Bali Tandra Thani Ei Agyalana Dakshine Chalile Prabhu Harashitahana. After talking in this way with Paramananda Puri, the Lord took his permission to leave and very pleased departed for southern India. So Paramananda Puri left for Jagannath Puri and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued maybe 5 more minutes continued in um, um, further South India. Paramananda Puri Tabe Chalia Nilachale Mahaprabhu Chali Chali Aila Shri Shaila. Thus Paramananda Puri started for Jagannath Puri and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began walking toward Shri Shaila. It is said that on that hill Lord Shiva lived with Devi. Also Lord Brahma lived there with all the demigods. So Shri Shaila is a place of Lord Shiva where Shiva lives there. Shiva Durga Rahe Taha Brahma Neravesh Mahaprabhu dekhi dohar haila ullase. In Sri Shaila, Lord Shiva and his wife Durga lived in a dress of Brahmanas. And when they saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they became very pleased. So Sri Shaila, you see here, there is Brahma. You see in the picture, Brahma with his associates. They were living in Sri Shaila, doing tapasya, and Shiva and Durga were also living in Sri Shaila. So Mahaprabhu went there. It is said that nobody can go there. I mean, the place exactly where they were living. But Mahaprabhu went there, and Lord Shiva and Durga were there. They were living in a face of Brahmana, and they got darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they wanted to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. तीना दीना भिक्षा दिला करी निमंत्रणा निभृते वाशी गुप्ता वार्ता कहे doi jana. Lord Shiva, dressed like a Brahmana, gave alms to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and invited him to spend 3 days in a solitary place. Sitting there together, they talked very confidentially. So now Lord Shiva is, always eager to discuss confidential topic about Lord Krishna. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come for this purpose. So it is said that for 3 days and 3 nights they spoke about pure Krishna Katha day and night. And because externally also he was a Brahmana and Mahaprabhu was a sannyasi. So it's a duty of a Brahmana to serve the sannyasi. So he said, please nimantran diya, please stay here for 3 days and allow us to serve you. And there was a lot of deep Krishna Katha that happened between Lord Shiva, Durga Devi, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. तांडा संगे महाप्रभु कैले इष्टागोष्ठी तांड्रा आज्ञा लाना आइला Puri Kamakoshti. After talking with Lord Shiva, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his permission to leave and went to Kamakoshti Puri. Now that's where we will end today. That's all. After that, there is a discussion of a place of Lord Shiva and a, a meeting with a beautiful, a meeting with a pure devotee of Lord Ramchandra and Mahaprabhu's interaction with him, devotee of Lord Ramchandra. So today we saw the remaining portion of Venkata Bhatta and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime. Then we saw Mahaprabhu meeting with Paramananda Puri, the god brother and Uddhav in Krishna Leela, and god brother of Ishwar Puri. And then we saw Mahaprabhu meeting with Lord Shiva and Durga in Sri Shaila, which is again in Tamil Nadu. And next year we go to Rameshwar, Shetubandha, and further. Okay. Are there any questions at this point of time?
Prabhuji, I have one question.
Okay.
So, Narayan, in Canto number 3, when Kapila Muni is giving his teaching, so in that he gave some description about the yogis, right? How they meditate on Paramatma. So that time he mentioned about the lotus feet, right? And he also mentioned the science when we can meditate, yogi can meditate on the science on the lotus feet. So that is pertaining to Narayan, or same thing is also applicable for Krishna, right? When bhaktas meditate on Krishna.
Yes. So Krishna also has signs on his lotus feet, and they all have particular meanings. And it is said that by meditating on those symbols at the lotus feet of Krishna, with the understanding of what they mean, it becomes easy to focus on the holy name and the lotus feet of Krishna. And that very soon give us access to deeper devotion. And likewise, there are symbols on the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
So then in that third canto, whatever is mentioned, those are different symbols on Narayana's feet, or it's same as Krishna's feet symbols?
Well, Mataji, if you text me, I can go through that particular verse and what symbols it mentions, and then I can clarify you if they are same or different.
Yeah, okay. I remember 14 to 18 verses, but I can provide you the
Yeah,
exact
you can
reference.
text me and I will
Yeah.
confirm you if they're the same symbols.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Anyone has any other question? Okay, thank you very much. We'll end here. Panchakalpatarubhasya kripasindhubhaya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णवेंद्र की जय श्री प्रभुपाद। दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी माता जी। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Professor Hare Krishna.
थैंक यू। हरे कृष्ण।